now swearing allegiance to the pro-Russian Crimean region.
Back home, and as we've mentioned already this morning, scientists are keeping a very close eye on the situation in Morwell in southeastern Victoria.
Residents are suffering as smoke, ash and fumes continue to rise from a coal fire at the Hazelwood mine. To talk about some of the international research around air quality, Ryan Shields is here from the University of Melbourne. Ryan, always good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Some other research to look at this morning as well, but this particular one, that was a study published in the British Medical Journal last month. We were just speaking about to the Chief Medical Officer in Victoria and also the Health Minister, David Davis, talks about particulates in the air, what you might inhale and how that leads to an increased risk of heart attacks.
Yeah, this is really interesting research out of Germany originally, and as you say, just recently published, and it looks at the rates of those particulates in the air, so we're talking about particles which you may breathe in, and how that affects your coronary health, so the risk of a heart attack or some other acute heart condition. And it's a big study. It followed something like 100,000 people over 11 years, so it was able to map them over that time.
So that's a long study.
That's a long study, yeah. So you often need a long gestation period for these kinds of things to get the accurate results you want. And what it found is that the fluctuations in the particulates that they were able to measure had something like a 12 to 13% effect on the risk of someone having a heart attack or some kind of acute coronary condition. So that's a huge potential increase from just something you may be breathing in the air.
This in addition to what we already know about the dangers of breathing in such smoke and particulates and the like.
Yeah, that's right. You know, to some extent what this does is reinforce existing research that we already have, but because it is such a large and a long-running study, we can, believe it a little bit more, or lay a little bit more faith in it.
OK, let's move on. And Facebook and alcohol companies using that social media tool to target kids is another form of research this morning.
Yeah, that's right. So this is research coming out of the University of Wollongong, and it looks at, these researchers looked at the 12 major liquor company Facebook pages. And of course, Facebook is a medium which is still dominated by people who are predominantly underage. And what this research found is that all of these sites that they were able to analyse did in some way breach the alcohol advertising code of conduct. So they did things like either target children directly, talk up the notion of binge drinking, or something which they're not allowed to do in advertising, which is to suggest their product will cause a change in the drinker or the environment. You know, drink this, you'll be better looking, or you'll have more fun, or whatever it may happen to be.
Well, that's just straight out advertising.
It's straight out advertising.
Just what it does.
The difference is that it's in well, I wouldn't say unregulated, but it's a new environment still, the internet, and the regulations aren't necessarily in place there to deal with this kind of thing. And the other thing the researchers pointed out is that there's a lot of fan pages on Facebook which the alcohol companies don't control, but these are places which go there, advocate for a product. You know, I'm the Bundy drinker of Queensland, or whatever it happens to be, and that in its own right is something which is pushing the product on children. You may say, oh well, that's no one's fault really, that's just how the internet works. What the researchers say is that technically what these fan pages are doing are breaching the trademark and copyright of the liquor companies, so if they had the will, there is a way there for them to clamp down on these fan pages.
If they had the will.
If they had the will.
I think a research report needs to be done into the need to reintroduce clear thinking in schools, so that kids are taught from an early age how to deal with cant, spin, double talk and the like. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, I can look that up and try and bring something back next month.
Could you please ask the University of Melbourne to fund some research into that?
I have homework now.
Well, look, staying with the University of Melbourne, and there's been some research done there looking at mining companies' use of this concept of a social licence. What is a social licence?
It's a very good question, and I wish I had an answer for you.
Well, I've never heard this phrase before. So who uses this phrase in what context?
Well, mining companies use it to say we have a right to be somewhere. So they'll say, we want to, tap into some coal seam gas in the Illawarra or wherever, and we have a social licence. We have the local community on our side, and we can demonstrate it.
Okay.
The problem is that, and I should say the federal government's using the term in some regulations and whatnot. It's in legislation. It's used in Parliament if you do a Hansard search a lot. But it's actually not defined anywhere. If you actually try and drill it down and work out what is this social licence which these parties are speaking of, it's not defined anywhere. It's not clear how you get one, how you amend one, how one might be revoked.
How do you renew your social licence?
This is it.
Where do you go and how much do you pay?
Yeah, is it in your wallet? Can I have a look at it? But the problem, of course, and then I should say protest groups, people that aren't fans of, say, mining, also use it. They say, you don't have a social licence to be here. And again, it's undefined. So if there were, and this is what the researchers from the Melbourne School of Government argue, if there was some clarity about this, if we did define it, it would allow the communities to actually say with clarity, no, we don't want you to be here. But equally, it would allow mining companies to combat what they often face, which is a vocal minority. So if there genuinely is community support and a few rabble-rousers with a loud voice, they can say, no, we do have a social licence, here it is in black and white.
Clear thinking.
Clear thinking.
See, yet again, we need clear thinking. This is going to be my new campaign.
I like it.
Ryan, always good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you. Now,